Hey all, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. For this beginner's guide video we will have a look at Black Panther, the King of Wakanda. Now if you're new to these videos, what we do is we have a look at various heroes that are available in Marvel Heroes Omega to give you an idea if they're worth unlocking, if the playstyle is one that will interest you. Now in the video we cover the heroes' attributes, their traits. If they have a unique resource we'll look at that as well. We then check out a few of their costumes, we then have a look at their signature and ultimate, and finishing up we have a few gameplay run-throughs where we check out their various different skills. So if they've got range skills we'll lump them all together and show them off. If they've got melee skills as well we'll then show them off in that nature. Now if you do want to jump to any particular section of the video there are timestamps within the description, so feel free to check that out. But the first section, if we're watching this in order, will be the attributes and traits. We start off by looking at the offensive trait, and this is Panther Grace. Now with this you gain a 15% critical hit damage bonus. His archetype is one of my personal favourites, Strategist, meaning he gains a bonus to fighting and intelligence. Fighting of course gives you the crit rating multiplier, which is brilliant. Intelligence gives you crit damage rating, which is equally as good. For the offensive trait we have Panther Soul. So with this you gain maximum health. Your archetype is Nimble, giving you a multiplier to both deflect and dodge, and you have close quarters, and if you use a melee power you gain 8% damage reduction for 3 seconds. Now there is no special resource on Panther, he just uses Spirit, so no need to cover that at all. Next up then we will have a look at a few of his costumes. As always we start off here by looking at the default, and this is his classic costume. It's a basic enough costume, but this is good old regular classic Black Panther. We then have Urban Jungle. I really do like the look of this one, and it also comes in a different variant which has a cape which looks great as well. And then we have an enhanced costume. This is PC only at the moment, will hopefully come to console sooner rather than later, and it really does look pretty fantastic. Finishing up we have my favourite Black Panther costume, the one from the recently released Civil War, and it looks amazing. I really do love this style of this particular costume. What we'll do next anyway, now that we've covered the costumes, is we'll have a look at his signature and ultimate. For his signature we have a rather awesome looking skill, and this is Wrath of Bast. So he calls in a spirit of Bast, a huge, I think it's panther, I would imagine it would be. I was about to say leopard, but of course it would have to be a panther. Now you've got the initial damage packet, 3-second terrify, and it also acts as a steroid, and then it gives you 1200 damage rating for 5 seconds. Now the skill has a low cooldown of only 20, so that means if you're using this when it's available you're looking at an uptime of 25% on that damage rating buff, which is really pretty nice. So next up anyway we'll have a look at his ultimate skill. For the ultimate we have another skill that interacts with the Panther god Bast. This one is called Exalted of Bast, so you'll have your dot damage, and it will also revive all nearby defeated allies, which is pretty great and really nice and unique. It provides you with 5 seconds of invulnerability, and on top of that it acts as a steroid as well, when it gives you a 20% boost to your movement speed, and also it gives you a bonus to your critical hit rating as well. So it's really pretty nice, and as you can see visually it looks pretty fantastic as well. So what we'll do next is we've got 2 gameplay run-throughs. The first one will show off the majority of his range skills, and then for the second one we'll show off his melee skills, which have a combination of bleeds and also in stealth that they can use to buff them. So first up let's look at these range skills. The first skill we look at here then will be the main spender that you would use for a range build, and this is Triple Throw. It's actually tagged as a basic, so it won't consume any spirit at all, and it does 3 hits because he throws out 3 projectiles, not surprisingly given it's called Triple Throw. Now it will also do bonus damage to enemies affected by chill. We then have Jungle Snare. Now this is normally a melee skill, but through talents we can actually make it a range skill, and that's the one I'm showing off here. So you've got your dot over a large area, it provides vulnerability, and it also immobilises the enemy for a huge 6 seconds, which is really quite powerful, and you can have up to 2 of these up at a time as well, so this is really a great skill. We then have Cryo Dagger, so this particular one will throw it out. For enemies it directly hits, it will actually do 2 times the amount of damage, and it explodes in an AoE, and what that does is it will freeze enemies for 2 seconds and it slows them for 6 seconds, and the skill has a 6-second cooldown as well. So if you want, you can actually keep the enemy slowed 100% of the time due to the slow duration and also the cooldown on it. We then have a pretty great looking skill. It's pretty simple, but it does look great. This is Vibranium Trap. So you actually leap back and throw out an explosive trap which detonates a second later for quite a lot of damage. It'll stun the enemy for 2 seconds as well. So I really do like this one. It's good, particularly on the melee build. If the enemy's closing in and you need to make a bit of distance between them, this can work really well. The next skill we look at is Mobile Minefield, and this one really is quite great. Now you'll throw out a small mine and then it actually opens up into a further 9 mines that all bleep away, which is fantastic looking. Now these will detonate after 5 seconds if the enemy doesn't run over them. If the enemy does run over them, it will set them off, and they do dot damage for 6 seconds. So I really do like this skill, it looks pretty great. The final skill we look at, one we've been using a lot to clear trash here, is Fan of Knives. So this is your standard cone trash clearing attack, and what does have a slight difference in that the 3 central knives of it actually do 50% bonus damage. So that's quite a nice little change there, I do like that. But let's fire off all these skills on Shocker to take them down. You could see getting distance here, leaping back there. So there we go, that's us done. So what we'll show off next will be the melee skills, and as mentioned already, these include things like bleed and stealth, so let's check them out. Now with the melee skills, there's actually 3 different main spenders you can use. The first one would be a basic, so it wouldn't consume any spirit. The next one actually does bonus damage to enemies that are bleeding, and then the one we're showing off and using here is Enervating Slash, if that's how we pronounce it. So this one actually has a bleed on it. Now this particular skill can interact with your actual dash called Slash and Lunge, where you build up charges, then you use the lunge to do bonus damage. So it almost has a movement build of sorts as well, so do bear that in mind if you're interested in that playstyle. On the subject of movement building skills, we have Panther Leap. So with this one, he'll jump over the enemy and it will stun them for 1.5 seconds, and it has a low 3-second cooldown, so you can use this pretty often, and it's great for getting right in amongst enemies. Once you're in amongst enemies, you can then use Knockdown Sweep. So this particular one, it will gain a damage bonus of 100% if you use it while stealthed or within 2 seconds of breaking stealth. So one of the other dashes you have will stealth you, so you could use this immediately after it. It will also knock down the enemy for 2 seconds. So this is great to roll in, they don't see you, and then knock them down and then start firing off all your other attacks. Now a great attack that you could fire off then would be Savage Strike. So this particular one has the initial damage packet, it then adds a bleed for 8 seconds as well, and it's really quite powerful. It's good to hit an elite with this and then roll away and let the bleed take care of them. The next skill we look at is Unseen Predator. So this particular one, you'll throw down lots of smoke bombs and yourself and your allies will be concealed. Now you'll be concealed for 5 seconds. The skill has a 30-second cooldown, but it actually works as a steroid as well, and then it gives you a huge 900 crit rating for 8 seconds, so that's really pretty nice. The enemy can't see you and you can do all your lethal hits on them. The final skill we look at is a great one for clearing trash, and this is Siphon Sweep, and it will actually weaken the enemy as well. This is a great skill to use after Panther Leap, where you jump in amongst enemies, stun them, and then you start taking them down and weakening them as well, so it's a great combination to use. Now just as we're approaching Dr. Octopus, I'll run through everything he has to offer. Then you've seen the range skills and he's got a lot of them. If you wish, you can actually go bleed heavy and have him benefit from the bleed with a lot of his skills gaining a damage bonus. You can go for stealth instead if you want, which is pretty great, or you can even go for movement, or even better, you can combine all of them for a really badass Black Panther build. So there we go, that's Dr. Octopus down. I hope this beginner's guide was useful. Next up I reckon we have Beast or Daredevil. I'll get him done in the next few days. I'm really pretty busy with all these videos, but it's good seeing all the requests you guys coming in, so keep those requests coming, and thanks for all your support, and I'll see you all again soon.